Shabbat Shalom. This Shabbat, we are reading from the Torah portion, Vera, in the book of Exodus. God tells Moses and his brother Aaron that they are to demand the release of the Israelites from bondage in Egypt. Moses will represent God, and Aaron will be his prophet, speaking on behalf of Moses. God further tells them that God will harden Pharaoh's heart so that God may multiply signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. And as you will probably remember from the telling of the story in the Haggadah at Passover, God delivers on the promise that after Moses and Aaron make their demands of Pharaoh to let the Israelites go, and Pharaoh refuses, and a wondrous plague follows. In Va'era, there are 7 plagues and 3 more in the following Torah portion. The signs are presented to Pharaoh one by one, but he does not act until a great and horrifying calamity befalls the Egyptians. In the middle of the night, Adonai struck down all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sat on the throne, to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And Pharaoh arose in the night with all his courtiers and all the Egyptians, because there was a loud cry in Egypt, for there was no house where there was not someone dead. Only then, with all of those deaths, does Pharaoh understand that he has no choice but to release the Israelites. The 9 other signs and wonders presented to him and to the Egyptians went unheeded. It is as if they did not see them at all. Which brings me to this question: how did we get here? This is a question that I've asked myself in numerous contexts over the last 10 days, the last 2 months, the last 6 months, the last year, and the last 4 years. In these times, Black citizens were killed at the hands of police, our cities burned, our civil discourse has decayed, and the Capitol, the temple of American democracy, was attacked by violent insurgents, American insurgents who waved a Confederate flag, wore pro-Nazi and anti-Semitic shirts, and killed a police officer. 4 other people died as a result of this attack as well. How did we get here? Were there signs we did not see? Because I am by nature a hopeful person, I believe that the investigations by law enforcement, the illumination provided by news media, and ultimately the work of historians will make the signs of this American crisis visible so that future generations can, God willing, avoid what we have experienced, and may God protect us until then. Looking back further this Shabbat, we also remember the life and the work of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His witness to the suffering of Black Americans and his prophetic voice calling us towards a just society and a beloved community was without a doubt in the spirit of Moses. His vision and his words continue to be an inspiration to so many. Dr. King's life and his ministry occurred during a deeply troubled period in American history. The decade of the 1960s saw massive social unrest and the assassination of visionary leaders, President John Kennedy, Malcolm X, Dr. King, and Robert Kennedy. This period was the only time that I can think of since the Civil War when our society was so troubled and when violence was applied in such a precise manner to silence the voices of justice. How did that come to pass? Were there signs that our nation did not see? Signs that could have saved the lives of these men, giving us a chance at a more just society, if only they could have been seen? And let us look at ourselves. What do we not see? What are the blind spots in our lives? The signs that go unheeded, that call us to do a better job of tending to God's creation, to love and care more fully for those closest to us, and to be kinder and more caring to ourselves? What will it take for us to notice and heed the presence of the Eternal One in our individual lives? For we each live without a Moses and an Aaron to speak God's words to us, except in Torah. My friends, tonight, this Shabbat, let us remember the signs and wonders that we have seen, that we have heeded, and that have led us to the beauty and the joy in our lives. Let us also do the work we need to do to make our blind spots smaller so that we can live more fully the lives that God has commanded us each to live. Ken yehi ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat shalom.